Jack Thunder and the Fragments of Anima, Book 7, Null. Chapter 6, Trials and Tribulations. Snotter wiped the sweat off her brow. The remains of the wall that once stood in her path now lay in rubble at her feet. Snotter was never too good at mazes, or anything that required a lot of careful forethought, really. So instead of worming her way through the narrow tunnels, she decided to knock them down. So far, she had managed to blaze a straight tunnel running to the volcano where the Heart of Darkness was waiting. She thought this would be the easier way, but now she wasn't so sure. Phew, hope I'm getting close. She trudged on, clambering over what seemed like miles of demolished walls. That last swing from Terra had really done some damage. Beneath her feet, Snotter could see the scar from where the earth had opened up to swallow a mountain of debris before closing once more. Just look at this mess. Is this really how you're going to face down the Heart of Darkness? What? Kirami? Is that you? Snotter shouted. That voice sounded an awful lot like Kirami when the young Kitsune scolded her for losing her temper. Maybe the fairy snail could catch her somewhere in these ruins. You're going to let them all down, Snotter. Snotter froze. That wasn't Kirami. Kirami may have butted heads with her, but she was never this harsh about it. Who are you? Show yourself. I'm not out there. I can see that, Snotter replied, snorting to herself. Are you really going to keep doing this, Snotter? Just keep swinging your axe and hope you'll get through it. It's been working all right for me so far. I wouldn't be so sure of that. You're starting to get tired, yes? Snotter grunted. What was this voice implying? You're not strong enough to get through this. You've been knocking down these walls for Anima knows how long now, and you're still not getting through. Face it, Snotter. You should just turn back. Save yourself the trouble. The fairy snail silently fumed. She knew who was speaking to her. Forget it. I managed to beat your armies 3 times before. You have no place to talk. Oh, really? If I recall, you had a lot of help from the others. You have no right to call yourself stronger than Adamant Ironjaw. Snotter nearly dropped Terra right then and there. The nerve of this voice! She lifted the broad axe once more and slammed its blade on the ground with all her might. The resulting quake nearly knocked Snotter off her feet. But when the dust settled, she could see that her swing had cut the labyrinth clean in half. At the end was the base of the volcano where she and her friends were supposed to meet. She smirked to herself, slinging Terra over her shoulder. Not strong enough, huh? The voice didn't answer. A sudden, explosive earthquake shook Shadowpaw's world. Snotter? The Nekomata made haste towards the epicenter of the quake. Snotter had to be somewhere nearby. She was the strongest out of all of them. Surely she would be able to protect him from whatever was in this network of tunnels, right? Seriously, Shadowpaws? You're pathetic. Shadowpaws stopped. His ears pricked up. Did he hear something? You're on your way to battle, and you seek out that little snail to protect you. Is that any kind of behavior of a champion of Alterus? Shadowpaws staggered backwards. What would Snotter think if she were to hear of this? Or Jack Thunder? You're supposed to be the new Dark Champion, the wielder of Lethal Joke, and you can't even stand on your own 2 feet. Shadowpaw's ears flattened to his head. His twin tails bushed up in fright. Where was it coming from? You're all alone, Shadowpaws. All alone in a dark maze in the middle of World's End. You tried to be brave, but in the end it meant nothing. You're still that scaredy cat you were back in the Circus of Shadows. He couldn't take it anymore. Shadowpaws ran, not knowing where he intended to go. Just anywhere away from here. All of a sudden, another earthquake caused him to trip and fall. As the shaking stopped, Shadowpaws uncovered his eyes. That was definitely Snotter. She was close by. He stood himself up. He closed his eyes for a few seconds, thinking about how tough she was. Slowly, his heart stopped racing. He would make it. He turned his head to the left and slowly opened his eyes. To his shock, he saw a clear, open pathway slicing through the labyrinth. Stony piles littered the ground, laced in vines. Shadowpaws dashed into the fray. "Snotter? Snotter, wait!" Buckthorn ambled over the wide, stony path. By how things looked, Snotter must have been the one to carve it out of the twisting terrain. The reef siren could have rolled her eyes. That was Snotter, all right. Not only was she as strong as Adamant Ironjaw, she was just as rock-headed. For better or for worse. She wondered how the others were doing. Surely they must have noticed the quakes by now. They were probably on their way to the mountain in the distance. Buckthorn turned up to see the clouds swirling about at the top of the volcano. They were even bigger and more menacing than before. It's never going to work. Buckthorn reluctantly trudged forward. It's hopeless. Never say never, Buckthorn replied to the voice in her head. Look up at the mountain, Buckthorn, the voice implored. You and your friends are all gonna die up there. Buckthorn thought of Jack Thunder. Where was he? Her mind filled with worry. Out of all the young champions, he was probably the one she was closest to. Not to mention he was the leader of the bunch. If something happened to him... No, she shouldn't think about that. San had been watching from overhead. If something happened to Jack Thunder, he would have known. He would have swooped in to rescue the little storm gremlin. After all, San cared about him just as much as she did. A sudden cry snapped her to attention. Her thoughts of doom were all but forgotten now. That voice sounded a lot like... Jack? Jack! Buckthorn tore off the beaten path into one of the caverns to her left. Jack Thunder was in trouble.